Hey guys, it's Master51 here, or 1911 Man, here to do another video. This video actually is kind of like a continuation of my other video. I created that video originally just to kind of illustrate some stuff about my KWA Kimber Tactical Custom 2. I'm calling it that because that's what it's modeled after and stuff. I actually, I reviewed that video and I realized that I could kind of segue into another video, kind of going into deeper, going deeper into my explanations or reasoning behind what I was talking about in that video. So this video, I'm obviously going to be focusing on spring tensions. This is just a couple or few springs technically, because 3 or more, you know. And I'm also going to be talking about gases, HFC, green gas, propane, red gas. I kind of touched on that a little bit in my first video, and I just kind of wanted to elaborate what I meant, and just kind of like talk about it a little bit more, just in case some people have some questions, things like that. So basically what you're looking at, like I kind of touched on just a minute ago, is what you're looking at is 3 different kinds of recoil springs, all from different manufacturers. This is from a Western Arms Les Bear Port Ordnance P14. This is from a KJW NEU 1911, and then this is from the original spring that came with the KWA Mark I. All these different springs do work in this gun. I haven't actually been able to shoot the KJW one, but I mean, I felt the tension. Like I said, there will be shooting videos and a little bit of commentary explaining and showing what I was talking about in this video. So basically what I'm going to start off by saying is showing you what I did to the barrel. Just kind of like illustrating what I was talking about, about like lockup and not really illustrating what I did to the barrel, but showing how like all these different things correlate. So really, what I'm going to start off by talking about would be the weaker spring. The weaker spring, I touched in the original video, would be for really light loads. I'm going to refer to gas as loads because you're loading the gas into the magazine and that's how you're shooting it. The lighter spring would be for the lighter loads, so there's less resistance on the slide, so it means it requires less gas to push the slide backwards, and so it reciprocates cleanly, more efficiently. So that's what this would really be used for. And then I would also, like I talked about in that video, would be used for adverse conditions. Now, I didn't really illustrate what I meant about adverse conditions in that video very well. What I mean about adverse conditions would be, say you were shooting your gun, or you might not even be shooting your gun. You might be in woodland. You might be somewhere sandy. Maybe you're in California, Arizona, something like that. You might even be on the dry East Coast, or when it is dry, you know, Midwest, something like that. Maybe it's dry, and maybe the gun is going to be inherently dirty where you are. And this isn't talking about competition. I'll get into that in just a moment. This means that you are in a nasty, dirty environment, that your gun may not be functioning as well as it should. You know, like you just cleaned it. Maybe there's oil in it. Maybe dirt gets oil attracts dirt, so it's inevitably going to get dirty in those kinds of conditions. So, what's great about the light spring is that there's going to be less resistance, especially if you are shooting green gas. Now, this is only for adverse conditions. Do not shoot this if you are in like CQB. Do not use this unless if you're in like CQB or you're in a if you're doing competition, stuff like that. Unless you are using HFC gas or even if it's cold, if it's winter time and you're trying to use green gas with your gun, and since KWAs are decently good with kill down, you probably could, and you'd use this spring. Other than that, do not use this spring or you will beat the shit out of your gun. There is less resistance. This offers a lot more resistance than either of these two, because this is meant for HFC 134A or duster gas or a lighter gas, which means your gun, if you shoot it with green gas or propane, your gun is literally going to be beating itself to death every time you pull the trigger, because you're putting metal on metal. I don't care if there are buffers in your gun. Regardless, you are beating the shit out of your gun. So watch out. It's kind of like like if you ever watch videos on converting real firearms to different calibers. If you have like the SIG P220, the SIG P220 is a great gun. You can interchange calibers 9 to 40. 40 is a high pressure round. 9 is not. If you put a 40 caliber barrel and a 9mm slide that has been lightened for 9mm, you will beat the living shit out of your gun. Same concept. Do not beat the shit out of your gun. It's not good for it. It will not last long. It might even fail horrifically. You don't know. It's unnecessary. You don't need to treat your gun badly. You don't need to get more recoil out of a gun. You're just trying to get BBs on target with. If you want something with recoil, get a different gun. Make a gun specifically for recoil. I mean, but you're, like I said, the harsher the gun cycles, or the harsher the actions the gun does or executes, is going to beat the shit out of your gun. So just watch out for that. That is what this light spring is for. Now, I talked about something I did with the barrel. I tightened up the barrel, the lockup between the barrel and the bushing on my 1911 by just putting some tape on it. This tape, some scotch. I tightened it up. It's really nice. It locks up pretty nicely. But the problem is if your gun is dirty and you're trying to use this for competition, this might not go into battery every time because of how tight the lockup is. It's not too terribly tight, but it's still tight enough to affect the efficiency in which this goes into battery every time. So you just got to watch out for that. So if you're using a lighter spring, you need to clean your gun a lot more regularly. This gun has not been cleaned. It's a very dirty gun, which is why anytime I rack in a new round, it doesn't always cycle in as efficiently or as reliably as it should. So, I need to clean the gun, or I don't think it'll work that well. Now that is what this is for. This is a medium power spring. These are 3 different spring tension. This is HFC. I kind of like, this is a medium between these two. That's what this is for. This is a medium power spring. It's good for HFC, but that has to be kind of on a warmer day. So this is kind of like, it has a specific need. Now, the problem with this spring, now I didn't talk about why, other than beating the shit out of your gun, why this would be bad. This would be bad in your gun if you're trying to use green gas, red gas, or propane, because there is something called hang time. When a gun cycles, the slide on the frame, let me just pop that. The slide on the frame, when your gun cycles, it does this. It goes, the hammer falls, it strikes the prime. This is a real gun. This one, it strikes the magazine pushes the nozzle pushes the whole slide back. There's something called hang time. Hang time is when there's nothing happening with the slide. It means there's enough momentum to keep the slide back and keep it there while you're in recoil. Now, with an airsoft gun, it's just going to look like this. It's not going to end up looking like this like a real 45 would. Now, if you have too light of a spring, your hang time is going to be unnecessarily long. So you're wasting, which means your follow-up shots are not going to be as fast as they could be. That is why you end up with 3 different or multiple different spring tensions, because if you're in competition or you just want to optimize your output of rounds, I suppose, that's why you want to try to play with your spring tension. That's what I love about the 1911 is that you can do this. That's why you'd want to mess with your spring tension. So, because you want to minimize hang time, but you also don't want to make it so that your gun cycles so fast that another BB can't go up and load into the chamber. Because you got to think that there's time between the next BB coming up and the slide going forward. So if you end up short stroking that because you have too heavy of a spring, short stroking is great if you're trying to get really quick follow-up shots, but not if you're trying to have a scenario for light combat. similar to combat. You don't want to be sitting there with a short-stroking gun. And another problem I have with short-stroking guns is that they don't lock to the rear when they're out. That's a problem for me because pretty much all of the shots that I'm going to be making are going to sound the same. So unless I'm in competition where I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I know how many rounds I put in my magazine, I mean, I really wouldn't ever short stroke my gun. Now, I did make a competition grade P229 from KJW and then sold it because I did like the gun, but it was short stroke, had an extended barrel because actually that could take Marui 1911 barrels, which was really cool. I could do a lot of cool stuff with that gun. But that gun was a competition gun. This is not. Well, that's not completely true. I can set this up as a competition gun, but that's not the point. The point is you don't want an excessive hang time, but you also don't want it so the gun comes back too quickly and then goes into battery too quickly, not allowing the next round to come to play. So you just need to watch out for that. Okay, so that's something, and that also. You also need to just kind of watch on video. You don't have to have high-speed video for this. You can kind of just see if you slightly slow down video. Any software, you can get free software. You can see how long your hand's back there. If in the video, you can see the slide staying back and then going back forward. That's a problem. I like to, whenever I review my shooting videos with my handgun, I can slow it down a little bit. I like to see if the frame can catch the slide coming back consistently. If the camera can catch the frame coming back consistently, that's not always good, because that either means the slide's going too slow. Actually, that just means the slide's going too slow, which can mean one of a few things. It means your gas isn't strong enough. It means your recoil spring's not strong enough. That could also be something with your mainspring housing, your main spring. So I mean, there's different factors, but the wonders of cameras are amazing. Now, different people have different quality of camera. I don't really have that great a quality camera. I can't really do high-speed video. I really want to be able to do that, but right now I don't have that capability. So, that's something with this. Now, if you really want good competition-grade performances out of your gun, and you want quick cycling, you want all that, or you want all the good stuff, I would stick with a stock Kimber or a KWA Mark 1 spring or Mark 2, 3. I'm not sure of the different springs, but I would stick with this. If you want quick follow-up shots consistently with green gas, I would stick with green gas. By the way, with this gun, I don't necessarily recommend propane. Propane's a decently dry gas. I mean, it doesn't have the lubricity of green gas, but I mean, it's not necessarily bad. It's not really a bad thing, but. I mean, if you take care of your gun, why not? This thing's past warranty, so I'm not worrying about warranty on this thing anymore. But let's take that off. Now, if you want the best performances with your gun for competition grade, I would go with green gas. Green gas in this gun for competition, good cycling. Or even maybe a stronger spring. I don't really have any other stronger springs, and to be honest, this is one of the strongest springs I have right now. But if you ever can get your hands on a WE 1911, those have decently strong springs, but those are half decent actually. I'm not sure, but the 150% springs from like Airsoft Surgeon or something like that, those are good. But yeah. Now, like I said, when you try to throw something like tighter tolerances into a gun that is inherently rattly or loose, you're going to run into issues, like I said, with these springs. So, I'll show you shooting this video today or tomorrow or the next day of this light-powered spring, the medium-powered spring, the heavy-powered spring. And I'll give you kind of initial impressions on which one I prefer. But as of right now, I'm thinking I would prefer this one. Just because, as of right now, it's a little cooler, so that means I might. This is kind of adverse. There's adverse in conditions. I mean, it's a dirty gun, but then I also have to take into consideration that I have tightened up the lockup between the bushing and the barrel. So that is something I need to keep in mind. Now that is why I also have the option of a medium power spring. It's great to have options. I mean, the medium power spring will be great if it's still a little cooler and I don't necessarily think I can use this, but maybe it's not so cold that I can use this. So that's kind of what this is for. This is kind of for that, kind of bridge the gap between those two, which is nice. I didn't even realize I had this one. So that's just kind of my 2 cents on the different spring, or that's just kind of my my general information on 1911s, the KWA 1911, some different spring tensions, and then also just a couple mods. But like I said, all I did with this was just some tape, so you just got to kind of fiddle around with the correct length of tape to figure out what gives you the best lockup and doesn't lock up the gun necessarily. So thanks so much for watching, guys. That's my video. Have a nice day. Bye.